I'm 105 years old. That number surprises people. It sounds like something distant, almost unreal, like it belongs to someone else. But I'm still here, sitting in this same chair, in this same quiet room, with more time behind me than ahead of me, and a kind of clarity I didn't have when I needed it. I used to think living this long meant I must have done something right. A good diet, discipline, clean habits, that's what people assume. They ask me what I ate, how often I exercised, what my routine was. I tell them the truth. It wasn't diet. And that's usually where they stop listening, because the real reason isn't something you can measure. It's not something you can copy easily. And it's not something I understood when I was your age. If I'm honest, I didn't understand it even at 50 or 60. Maybe not even at 80. I only started to see it clearly when there was almost no time left to use it. That's the part nobody tells you. You think you have time.
You always think you have time. I thought the same. I believed life worked in stages. First you build something, then you enjoy it. First you sacrifice, then you live. First you say yes to everything, and later, you'll finally say yes to yourself. That later felt real to me, solid, guaranteed. I told myself, when things settle down, I'll slow down. When I have enough, I'll rest. When the kids grow up, I'll focus on myself. When I retire, I'll finally live the way I want. It always started with when, and it always ended with later. It sounded reasonable, responsible even. Everyone around me was doing the same thing, working more than they wanted to, saying yes when they didn't mean it, putting off small joys because they didn't seem important enough. We all believed we were being smart. We believed we were doing what life required of us, and I followed that path without questioning it. I said yes to things I didn't care about.
I stayed in places longer than I should have. I ignored that quiet feeling in my chest that kept telling me something was off. But I didn't stop, because stopping felt dangerous. Stopping meant thinking, and thinking might have led to questions I wasn't ready to answer. So I stayed busy. I filled my days. I postponed the things that didn't seem urgent. Conversations, trips, moments. Even simple things, like sitting still without feeling guilty. I told myself I'd get to them. Not now, later. Always later. If you're honest with yourself, how often do you say that? Later. Not today. I'll do it when things calm down. But do they ever really calm down? Or do you just get used to the noise? I did. I got used to it so well, I didn't even notice the years passing. Not at first. Because life doesn't take everything from you at once. It happens quietly. One postponed moment at a time, one small not now after another. And before you realize it, later starts running out. I didn't see it coming, that's the truth. I thought I was in control. I thought I was being patient. I thought I was building something that would eventually give me freedom. But what I was really building was a habit of waiting, a habit of postponing my own life. And habits like that don't break on their own. They just get stronger. Tell me, what are you waiting for? It didn't hit me all at once. There wasn't some dramatic moment where everything stopped and I suddenly understood my life. It was quieter than that. I was 72 when I retired. For decades I had imagined that day. I thought it would feel like relief. Like I had finally reached the part where life opens up. No more schedules, no more pressure, no more obligations, just time. That's what I believed.
But the morning after my last day, I woke up at the same hour, out of habit. The house was quiet, too quiet. No calls, no urgency, no reason to rush. I remember sitting there on the edge of the bed, waiting for something to begin, but nothing did. That silence, it stayed. At first, I told myself it was normal. Give it time, I said. You've just stopped working, of course it feels strange. So I waited. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and that strange feeling didn't go away. It grew, because for the first time in my life, there was no distraction. No constant movement to hide behind, just me. And that's when the questions started. Not loud, not dramatic, just quiet, persistent thoughts. What now? Who am I without all that noise? What was all that for? I didn't have clear answers, and that scared me more than anything ever had, because I realized something I hadn't seen before. I had spent most of my life preparing to live instead of actually living. I had been waiting for this moment, and when it arrived, I didn't know what to do with it. That's a strange kind of emptiness, not the kind that comes from loss, the kind that comes from absence. Absence of meaning, absence of direction. I started looking back, not intentionally at first, just small memories. Things I had said I'd do, places I had planned to go, people I had meant to spend more time with. All of it sitting somewhere in the distance, untouched, still waiting. And that's when I saw the pattern. It wasn't one big mistake. It was repetition.
The same choices, over and over. Choosing what was expected over what I actually wanted. Choosing comfort over honesty. Choosing later over now. Year after year, decade after decade. I told myself I was being responsible. I told myself I was doing what had to be done. And maybe some of that was true, but not all of it. A lot of it was just habit. A habit of saying yes when I meant no. A habit of staying where I was comfortable, even when it felt wrong. A habit of delaying anything that required courage. And the strange thing is, you don't feel the weight of that habit right away. You can carry it for years without noticing, because life keeps moving. There's always something next, another responsibility, another excuse, another not yet. Until one day, there's nothing left to distract you, and you finally see it. All the not yets stacked on top of each other, all the laters that never came, all the years that felt busy but not meaningful. Tell me, if everything slowed down for you today, what would be left? Not your responsibilities, not your routines, just you. Would you recognize your life? Or would it feel unfamiliar? When I started seeing it clearly, I couldn't unsee it. It wasn't one regret, it was many, small ones mostly. That's what makes them harder to accept. Big mistakes. You can point to them, you can name them, you can almost forgive yourself for them. But small regrets, they spread. They sit in quiet places. I think about the people I didn't call, the conversations I postponed because I thought there would be another chance. I'll visit next month. I'll make time soon. Things are busy right now. I said those words more times than I can count, and sometimes soon never came. People moved on, or they changed,
or they left, or they died. And I was left with sentences that never got finished. I think about the trips I never took, not because I couldn't, but because it didn't feel like the right time. There was always something more important: work, money, obligations. I told myself I'd go when everything was settled, but everything is never settled.
There's always something. So I stayed, year after year, waiting for the perfect moment that never arrived. I think about the things I wanted to try, simple things, nothing extraordinary. Learning something new, starting something I cared about, speaking honestly when it mattered. But I hesitated. I waited until I felt ready, and I rarely felt ready, so I did nothing. I think about the boundaries I didn't set, the times I said yes when every part of me wanted to say no. I didn't want to disappoint people. I didn't want to cause discomfort, so I adjusted myself again and again until I didn't even notice I was doing it, until it felt normal, until it became who I was. And that's a strange realization when you look back and see how much of your life was shaped by things you never chose, just accepted, quietly, without questioning. If you're honest with yourself, how many times have you done that?
How many times have you said yes, just to avoid a moment of discomfort? How many times have you postponed something that mattered to you? Not forever, just for now, just for later. What are you postponing right now? Is it a conversation, a decision, a change you know you need to make? And what are you telling yourself? That it's not the right time? That you'll deal with it later? That's what I told myself over and over. Later, later, later. But later has a way of disappearing, quietly, without warning. You don't get an announcement, you don't get a reminder. One day, you just realize that the window is smaller than you thought, or closed entirely. And then you're left with questions that don't have answers anymore. Things you can't go back and fix, not because you didn't care, but because you waited. So let me ask you something, and I want you to answer it honestly, not out loud, just to yourself. Who are you really living for right now? Is it you?
Or is it everyone else? I used to think the answer to a long life was complicated, that it had something to do with discipline, or luck, or doing everything right. Now, at 105, I can tell you something that feels almost embarrassing to say out loud. It's simple, painfully simple. What matters is not what you collect, not how much you achieve, not how busy you stay. What matters is what you don't postpone. That's it. The conversations you have when they're uncomfortable, the time you give to people who matter, the moments you allow yourself to actually feel instead of rushing past them. I spent years thinking I needed more time, more stability, more certainty. But the truth is, I didn't need more time. I needed to use the time I already had. I thought meaning would come later, after everything was in place, after I had earned it. But meaning doesn't wait for your life to be organized. It shows up in small, ordinary moments. And if you keep pushing those moments away, you don't get them back. That's the part that stays with you, not the long hours, not the sacrifices you thought were necessary, but the things you quietly gave up without realizing it. I'm not saying responsibilities don't matter. They do. Life isn't simple. But not everything deserves the same weight. And I gave too much weight to things that didn't matter in the end. I treated everything like it was urgent, and because of that, I ignored what was important. There's a difference. It took me almost a lifetime to understand it. So now I'll say it to you as clearly as I can.
You don't need to wait. You don't need the perfect moment. You don't need everything to make sense, because it never fully will. There will always be something unfinished, something uncertain, something that tells you to hold off just a little longer. But if you keep listening to that voice,
you will wake up one day and realize you've been holding off your entire life.
I did, and I can't go back and change that. But you're not where I am. Not yet. So ask yourself, what are you delaying that you already know matters? What are you avoiding because it feels inconvenient? What are you telling yourself you'll do when the time is right? The time isn't coming. It's already here. It always was. You just keep moving past it. And one day, you won't be able to. That's the truth people don't like to hear. There is a limit. You don't see it clearly when you're young. It feels far away, abstract. But it isn't. It's moving, quietly, whether you pay attention or not. So you have a choice, not a big, dramatic one, a small one. Repeat it every day. Do you keep waiting? Or do you stop and choose something that actually matters to you? I can't answer that for you. No one can. But I can tell you what it feels like to wait too long. And it's not loud.
It's not dramatic. It's quiet. It's sitting in a room like this, with more memories of what you didn't do than what you did. If any of this feels familiar, don't ignore it. Just think about it. Maybe talk about it with someone. Maybe write it down. Maybe do one small thing you've been putting off. That's enough. You don't need to change everything. Just don't keep telling yourself later, because later runs out. And when it does, it doesn't come back. That's all I wanted to say.